Okay, so now that we've gotten the back here all sanded up, I mean, it's going to be a half and half. There really was no need to clean up the seam, but I did anyway. It's just for, just because. So we got everything all sanded up. Got a little bit more back here to do, but what I'm going to focus on right now is there's going to be a light right here on the back. So what we're going to do to get that is we're going to use a small red piece of transparent plastic that I cut off the back of one of these old paint brushes, and we're going to glue it in there to make the light there. So what we're going to do is we need to make an area for where the light's going to go. So for that, we're just going to use one of these big old files here, which is about the width of what we want, and then I'm just going to set it where I want it to go in, and we're just going to grind that in as far as we need to get it to go. And there we go. So now what we've got is that. We'll check our fit. Not quite fully where I want it yet. Let's just clean out the back of this a bit. And then we're going to get this to fit in. So that is going to go right into there. So we'll just leave that for right now. We'll get some glue in there and we'll glue that in, and then we'll leave that to set for a bit. So we're going to use a little bit of my super glue here, and that'll be there. So we'll get this to glue all up in there. Here we go. Drop some of our glue in there, and then we'll glue this piece in, and then we'll just leave that to go ahead and set. So now we've got it fit on both sides. So once that's fully set, we'll grind that off, we'll buff it down, we'll sand it off, and we'll polish it up. Okay, so this has had some time to set, so now we're just gonna try to get this ready to clean. So we're just going to get a rotary tool here, and we're just going to start nipping some of this off. It's a little hot. The other side. And then we're going to stop there with this. Clean off all this molten plastic, and what we've got is that. And what I might do is change one of the tips for this to get something to clean it up a little bit better. Now with a different tip, we're going to sand it down a little bit closer to the where we are. There we go. So we're going to stop there. The rest of this we'll clean up by hand. Tape is to protect the spots that are already there, so we don't wreck it. When we're sanding. So we're just going to keep cleaning this up. Until we get it nice and flush with the rest of the kit. As we get this going on, we can begin to get it nicely even with the rest of it clean. And that's nice and flush, so we'll round this off a little bit here. And we want to just round that off a bit there. And what we've got is the lens pretty much there. Then what we can do is we can get into our polishing brush pieces, and then we'll start to clean that up. So we'll get a little slicker sheen on it here. Get it nice and smooth. Get it into our next grade. And just keep sanding it with these till we get it nicely up to where we want it. Then we can go on with one of these and start polishing. And as we're doing that, you can see this thing is becoming more lens-like. And then we're just getting in there like that, and we'll get to the final buffing stage, which is this polishing one. And there we go. And there we go. And that's what we've got, and that's our little navigation light right there. Okay, next thing we're going to get on this is the pitot tubes that were here. They were originally molded on plastic, and I didn't particularly like those, so I cut them off. So what I've got here is pretty much all the parts we're going to need to replace it. So there's actually two on there. One that was just an aerial or whatever, and the other one which was a two-sized pitot tube. So the first thing we're going to get is a small piece of tube. Got it cut off. As you can see, it's pretty much hollow there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the first piece of one of these pieces of wire here. There. And then we're going to stick it inside the other one to about the length that we need it. So there we go. I don't know if you can see that. And then we're going to get a little bit of glue on that. And then we're going to get it into the hole that was pre-drilled in here. And then we're going to get this thing lined up to how we need it. And there you go. That's the first one. That's the second one right there. And that's all there is to it. And then you just let that set, and then we're going to get that thing masked off. We've got most of the fuselage together, and as you can see, I've got an old canopy that I stuck on top of here from my spares. I got it pretty much sealed up with some white glue. That'll be to mask off the cockpit. White glue I can use is this, or there's an Elmer's one, doesn't really matter. Great thing with these is they're all waterproof. They're water-based. Sorry, not waterproof, water-based. And what's good about it is that when the time comes to remove this, you just hydrate it again. It'll basically liquefy again, get off all the residue, leave nothing behind. And then you don't damage your paint underneath that either. So we're just going to get that, just going to stuff inside here with some foam, and we're going to go on from there. Okay, so some other things that got done. So as you can see, the wings have been attached to the fuselage, and we're all ready to go on that. Still have the intakes to deal with, but I just wanted to turn it over here and show you the other wheelbase. So we kind of did that off camera here. So as you can see, pieces of stretch sprue and little cut off pieces and little nubs, just little things just to busy up the wheel wells to make them look a little bit more than just flat and one-dimensional. Now it's got a little bit of depth, and once you get all this painted up, this will all look pretty nice. We've just got a couple more pieces to attach to this, and then we're getting ready to go. One of the things I wanted to show is right here in the wing root. So, and sometimes we got this little spot where it's just not always a perfect fill. So what I usually do or like to do is, I don't like using filler for that because it's actually pretty much of a pain in the ass. So what I like to use is again, the water-based white glue. Once this goes down and the primer goes over it, it's just as good as any old filler. So what I tend to do is just get the thing, I've got it in one of these vape dispenser boxes. I'm an ex-smoker that went to vaping, and now I've completely been nicotine free for about 2 years, but I kept a lot of the bottles, and I use them for this sort of stuff. So we got it for glue. So right now we got the one that's got a little needle tip on it, and typically I just get it going and go along the seam here like this down to where I want it to stop. And after that, just a Q-tip. I mean, you can wet the Q-tip a little bit. It'll probably help a little bit, especially if you get it a little bit wet. And then this will just help spread the glue a little bit easier. Just make sure it's not completely soaking wet, so just dry it out a little bit. And then all you're going to do is just draw it along that seam. Just like that. And then what you've got is a perfect joint seam. Same thing again, the other side. Thing here, got your thing, just dabbed it in my mouth a little bit here to just get it down, and then go back across it. There you go, perfect seam again. That's all ready to be painted. Oh, the other thing we also need to fix is this piece right here. So we're going to get into that first before we get into priming, and I'll show you what I'm going to do there. And now we're going to start slinging some paint at this. We're going to start with some primer, and I'm going to go with gray primer to paint the intake insides and inside the wheel wells. I guess I could have used white primer. I do have that available, but I want to be able to put the paint down and not just have everything white primered. So we're going to get this on, and then we're going to move on from that. Also, while we're at it, since we're going to be painting all of that white, I'm going to do the insides of all the wheel well doors. We're going to leave this to set for a bit, then we'll come back and we'll throw white on these and get some red on those. Okay, so now we're going to come and put down the white on all of these parts. So, got our white already in there. Let's get it all moving. And then we're going to put white down on this. So we're going to leave this to dry, and then we'll come in and we'll add the reds and all of that, and then we'll start taping it off. Quick part that I wanted to show you guys that I promised to show you was that little section there of the wing that was like all folded up. So what I did was I heat up a piece of spare sprue, got it nice and soft, and then just rolled it flat. So then what I'm going to do here with this now is go in, hit it with some cement, with some of the to-me extra thin, and then I'm just going to sit here and wait with it for a second. What you want to have happen here now is you want the plastic to start to soften up. Once you know it's softened up a little bit, and you want to take it, and then you want to kind of just push it together in till you start to get it in there. And then you're going to leave this to pretty much set. Alright, so we'll just do that. Okay, and then we'll leave that to set. Once that hardens up, then we'll trim it off, sand it out, and blend it in. You won't even know it was there. Okay, so the little insert piece is set, and then now we just want to cut off the excess here very carefully so that it doesn't pop off. So now we've got the tape removed, and now we just want to remove the excess. You might even want to get into using a knife just to slice it. And then we'll just sand that down, get nice and even across there. And if you wanted to go back over it with some of the filler like the Bondo, that would be okay also. Next we're getting on to weathering the wheel bay doors. So for that we're going to use a variety of different HB pencils. The only thing you really can do with a lot of these white pieces is pretty much use gray. So we can start with some of these pencils, probably looking more at like, you know, the 3B and the 5B, just to get with some of the main scratches, and then in some of the recessed areas we'll use some of these graphite sticks for that. So we'll start with the lighter one first, which is a 3B, and then we'll just, you know, make sure they're nicely sharpened. They have a nice sharp tip on them, and then you're just going to basically, you know, just add some chipping. Just, you know, wear areas here. You know, you want to focus a lot around areas like the part that's going to be lower to the ground. You want to make sure that that's nicely chipped. You know, that sort of stuff around things like this ring on the edge here. On the top, you can get down into some of these areas here. And what you really want to do is, you don't even really want to get, you know, anything major. You just want little jaggedy looking lines. Then you can switch it up and go to something a little heavier like the 6B. You know, get a nice darker line. Get a little bit along that edge. You know, and another thing you can also do is you can get these graphite pencils. Like I said, get a nice tip on them there. And needs a little bit more of a tip. And what you can do with these is like here, you want to create like a little shadow here. So you can go in with this, you know, create a line like that. So what you've got is a pretty solid line like that. And then you want to come in with a brush. You can use a round tip brush like this. And then you just want to come in and just smudge it. You know, get it in there. Get it really nice and dark if you want. And then just smudge it like this. And what you're going to get is a little bit of a shadow in there like that. You know, you can actually come in. If you think it's too severe, you can just go in with your eraser. As soon as I find the one I've got, and you can just erase some of it out. And, you know, lighten it back up. And if you think you lightened it back up too much, just go back in and brush it in again. And then what you got is a slight little shadowed area, just like that, all inside your system. And you can do that on pretty much any one of these recessed areas here, just to create some, you know, shadow effects. Now what you could also do is if you've got it, is then for some of these areas here, if you want to use it, and you've got it, you can go into it with a filter. As soon as I can find a brush that's of appropriate size, it doesn't really matter. Here we go. You just get a little bit of this filter here, and then you can just brush it down in that hole there. You know, you can put this into those deep areas there. And then what you've got there now is a bit of a shadow. So you can still do like a panel line wash with these. You just want to keep it very, very subtle, so you get almost like a pin wash there, down into these holes. Same here, you can go back to these if you want. You can do the same thing with these. Or you could have just done this from the beginning. Just get a nice panel wash. Just use a filter on these. You know, some of it will just gather around some of this rivet detail here. That's what you want, just like that. And voila, that's done there. And that's it. Those are pretty much good to go. So we'll just leave those, and once that's finished up, we'll just get a clear coat on it, and those are done. So this is actually a video about mission model products. I do not have a red product for mission models. So what I've done here is just to keep the focus on the actual product, I just did these red parts by themselves. So I used Tamiya XF7 flat red to paint this over the white, as you can see. But what I've done is I did one side here, and I went ahead and did some weathering on that part. So what I'm going to actually show you today here is what I did to achieve that stuff there. So first of all, what I used was, to get started on some of it, was some of these Prismacolor crayons. Right now I've got Poppy Red and Tuscan Red. So I've got a medium red to a dark red. So basically what we're going to do here is these lines are rivets. We're just going to color them in just along the rivet lines here with the poppy red, just to get some kind of a highlighting on these ribs here. Okay. And then when we're finished with that, we're going to get the Tuscan red, and I'm just going to get a couple of little lines coming off of here like that, showing, you know, like a darker stain coming off where the door actuators are going to be. And we'll put that aside, and then we're going to come to this. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to paint this. And for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some brush painting here. So for the first thing we're going to go in is with Vallejo Model Color Orange Red. Let's just get it all mixed up nicely. Should still be mixed up from last night. And then we're just going to put a drop on there. And what I'm going to do is go in with a very fine brush. Just get a little bit of water in there, and we're going to hydrate this down a little bit, because I want this to be fairly thin for the part that we're going to do. So what we're going to do now is start focusing on a little bit of a highlight. So first thing I'm going to do is get the brush a little drier, and then all of the points on this that are going to be high, like the really high parts, we're going to paint those with a red orange. So like all of this stuff. And if you notice, like I said, I watered it down because I want it to be thinned. I want it to go on more like a filter or a glaze versus anything else. And you just want to focus on just these really high areas right here. So, you know, like over here, we got that, and then we just want to go on this, right there. You don't have to worry about if it's like 100% neat. Don't worry too much about it. It's kind of hard to do it. No, trying to do it for a camera, it's not the same. So what you've got there now is a highlighted color, so it appears a little lighter. So what you want to do is you want to get some depth into some of this. So rather than just leaving everything one color red, then you put a little lighter color on the parts that would be considered closer to your light source, so they do look a little lighter because they're getting a little bit more illumination. Now for the recessed parts, we're going to come in and I'm going to add a drop of Vallejo Model Color Dark Red into the mix. And then I'm going to add a drop of Black Red to the mix. And we're going to get that all mixed up really nice. As soon as I figure out where my brush is, here we go. And we're going to mix this in. Now what you're going to get here with this is essentially a shadowing color. And I've said it before in the group a lot of times. People have heard me, I hate mixing colors. Still do. Nothing's changed on that. And then now what you want to do is get down into the darker areas with this. Because now these are the areas that are going to be less illuminated. Oh, that's a little too much, too thick. Let's get some of that out, get some water on that, dilute that down. And then we're going to come about it. The borders of this thing actually helps to pull everything in a little bit. That's an old shirt, don't have to worry about that. So you just want to keep that down in the recesses like this. To these really deep recesses here. And then there you go. So that's what you want to get. It's a nice shadow color. And we're going to start priming the extra parts of the plane. So we're going to do these flaps, all the other stuff, and then we're going to get onto the main body of the plane afterwards. That's a completed thing, and we just need to leave that to cure for a bit. And then the bottom. And we are done. Overnight curing, and we'll move on. I need to put another. Okay, so I'm gonna get. cleaner than this. And that's the end of the white. And now a light gray base for the SEA side. And time for the blending coats. And then we're just going to stop there with that and call that a day. So next color we're going to do is, well, the first color we're going to do in the SE camo is the tan color. So I'm going to go with U.S. Army Sand. So not sure if it's going to be a right color or not, but I guess we're going to find out. And here goes the green.
You tell my heart it's
And then onto the dark green. And that's that. And on to the navy side. And we're going to put down the marbling for the ghost gray, light ghost gray, for the marine side. And now we blend in the ghost gray. Okay, just to go off on a little side note here, something that has happened with this piece here. As you can see, there's a little bit of a paint lift that came up while I was taking the tape off. Now, yeah, it happens. Gotta remember, this is, after all, an acrylic paint with an acrylic primer. There's a lot of different reasons why this could have happened. It could have been as simple as insufficient prep, not detacking the tape enough, using tape with too much adhesive, on and on and on and on and on. Anyways, what happens here in a lot of cases, and I've seen it online with guys, you know, they just throw their hands up and they go, oh, fuck this, fuck that. You know, piss on a stick, whatever. I got to strip it all back and do all of this. No, I've lost all that work, blah, 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 blah. Or I see a picture of it in the garbage. Oh, I'm done with this shit. Anyways, realistically, for me, yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass when it happens, but those are people looking at the glass half empty. Let's look at it half full. This is a great opportunity to take advantage and create a bit of a weathering effect. No. I'm just going to get some stuff ready here, and then we're going to come right back to that, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I got some color loaded up in here. Now, originally we sprayed all of this with Ghost Gray. Light Ghost Gray to be exact. So what I've done now is I've got a little bit of light Gull Gray loaded up in my thing. Now, quick question. When paint gets chipped on real aircraft, what happens? Especially with naval aircraft. We go in and we do touch-ups. So, just get a little bit of a new color in, just slightly different from what you had before. And just touch it in. So what you've got here, no, you see it all over the internet. We talk about it all the time in all of the chat rooms or the Facebook blogs and all of that and forums. Oh, you know, creating that. We got touch-ups and all of that. Just do exactly the same thing. You want to get a real looking effect? Do what they would do for real. Touch the chip up. That's all. But what I would do is just do a little overspray above and beyond that. Because now what you got is a very obvious touch up there. Which, in a way, is what you want. You want it to be obvious. Okay. Okay, so you got that there. And we're just going to get a little bit on this splitter there. And there we go. So that's the first step. And the next thing you want to do after that is get back the exact same color you used to paint it here in the first place. In this case, back to the Ghost Gray. And you're just going to add that right to the middle. Just slightly blend it back in. Okay, and then there you go. So what you've got now is an area that looks a bit more like a touch-up you would see on actual aircraft online. What you want to do is kind of just focus to the middle of the touch-up. That way you have some of the outside blending in. And then there you go. So now what you've got is a blended in touch-up. Looks a little bit more like the part. No, you don't have to go in and deal with that. I know you've taken advantage of a little mishap, a little slip, screw up, muck up, whatever you want to call it. But don't get frustrated. Get creative and take advantage. Okay? Okay, so now we got all those little peels touched up. Now you can see in the white here where it's got. Don't be afraid to make them look obvious. Even if you had to do them, they look obvious, then they give a little bit more interest. They make it look a little bit more plausible, because you got to remember, in a lot of cases, these guys didn't have the exact color to use. The idea wasn't to match the color, file an insurance claim and, do a military police report. No, the purpose was get the chips dealt with so it doesn't turn to rust, so it doesn't compromise the structure of the aircraft. So you'll see pictures of these things where it's, it's a light gray, almost white, and it's got dark gray primer, almost black, sometimes a close blue. Near match was pretty commonplace to use. So don't be afraid to use near matches and stuff and making it look obvious that you touch something up. It actually can work into your advantage. Again, it does bring a little bit more visual interest into what you're doing, and it just gives you that extra step. So no reason to get all frustrated about it. Take advantage of it, work with it, use it. And we're going to do the white for the underside of the navel side. Okay, so that's it. Basically all the base paint is done. We got all the metal parts done here. I did all of that off camera because I just wanted to be able to spray down and away from the model so I don't get any overspray all over it from the metal. Metal paint tends to get everywhere. I got a little bit of International Orange up on there. I'm going with a lesser decorated version of the aircraft. Not going to go with all of these lines and everything. I'm just going to do a basic SEA type thing. So I'm going to just put just the markings on it, and that's it. There's a little bit of touch up I got to do, and some extra spots like here where the demarcations aren't exactly perfect. Same thing back here. So we're just going to dress those up, clean those up. I got a little bit of more the chip paint type effect here. We're going to have to clean up and around that. So once we're done with all of that, then we're going to begin in the next video. We're going to get onto the weathering.
Line 15, this is Howard Party, stand down, that's you.